Hello, guys. I hope you're doing good. Today we are going to work on your Bible lesson for 29:2. Okay, we're going to be talking about Jacob's family. All right, so you're going to need your workbook and a pencil, all that. All right, so I have put together the Bible verses for you guys again so that I can read it smoothly. All right, so I'm going to be reading to you about Jacob's family. And then I'll go over some of the questions I would have asked you in class, and we'll talk about your workbook page, okay? So once again, this goes with 29:2. All right, the scripture that I have gathered for you guys, we have Genesis 29, 1 through 6, Genesis 29, 7 through 16, Genesis 29, 16 through 22, Genesis 29, 26 through 30, Genesis 35, 23 to 26, and Genesis 30, 25 to 34. All right, so here we go. Jacob arrives in Padan Aram. Then Jacob continued on his journey and came to the land of the eastern peoples. There he saw a well in the open country with 3 flocks of sheep lying near it because the flocks were watered from that well. The stone over the mouth of the well was large. When all the flocks were gathered there, the shepherds would roll the stone away from the well's mouth and water the sheep. Then they would return the stone to its place over the mouth of the well. Jacob asked the shepherds, "My brothers, where are you from?" "We are from Haran," they replied. He said to them, "Do you know Laban, Nahor's grandson?" "Yes, we know him," they answered. Then Jacob said, "Is he well?" "Yes, he is," they said. "And here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep." "Look," he said, "the sun is still high. It is not time for the flocks to be gathered. Water the sheep and take them back to pasture." "We can't," they replied, "until all the flocks are gathered and the stone has been rolled away from the mouth of the well. Then we will water the sheep." While he was still talking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, so she was a shepherd. Then Jacob saw Rachel, daughter of his uncle Laban, and Laban's sheep. He went over and rolled the stone away from the mouth of the well and watered his uncle's sheep. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and began to weep aloud. He had told Rachel that he was a relative of her father and a son of Rebekah. So she ran and told her father. As soon as Laban heard the news about Jacob, his sister's son, he hurried to meet him. He embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his home. And there Jacob told him all these things. Then Laban said to him, "You are my own flesh and blood." Jacob marries Leah and Rachel. After Jacob had stayed with him for a whole month, Laban said to him, "Just because you are a relative of mine, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me what your wages should be." Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel had a lovely figure and was beautiful. Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, "I'll work for you for 7 years and return for your younger daughter Rachel." Laban said, "It's better that I give her to you than to some other man. Stay here with me." So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but then seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her. Then Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife. My time is completed, and I want to love her." So Laban brought together all the people of the place and gave a feast. Laban replied, "It is not our custom here to give the younger daughter in marriage before the older one. Finish this daughter's bridal week. Then we will give you the younger one also, in return for another 7 years of work." And Jacob did so. He finished the week with Leah, and then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to be his wife. Laban gave his servant Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her attendant. Jacob made love to Rachel also, and his love for Rachel was greater than his love for Leah. And he worked for Laban another 7 years. All right, so Leah had several sons. She had Reuben, Jacob, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. Rachel had several sons, Joseph and Benjamin. Rachel's servant, Bilhah, had Dan and Naphtali. And Leah's servant, Zilpah, her sons were Gad and Asher. Okay? They were all Jacob's sons. All right, so Jacob's flock increased. After Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob, and to Laban, sorry, after Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, "Send me on my way so I can go back to my own homeland. Give me my wives and children for whom I have served you, and I will be on my way. You know how much work I've done for you." But Laban said to him, "If I have found favor in your eyes, please stay. I have learned my divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you," he added. "Name your wages, I will pay them." Jacob said to him, "You now You know I have worked for you and how your livestock has fared under my care. The little you had before I came has increased greatly, and the Lord has blessed you wherever I have been. But now, when may I do something for my own household? What shall I give what shall I give you?" he asked. "Don't give me anything," Jacob replied. "But if you will do me this Sorry. But if you will do this one thing for me, I will go on tending your flocks and watching over them. Let me go through all of your flocks today and remove from them every speckled or spotted sheep, every dark-colored lamb, and every spotted or speckled goat. They will be my wages, and my honesty will testify for me in the future whenever you check on the wages you have paid me. Any goat in my possession that is not speckled or spotted, or any lamb that is not dark colored, will be considered stolen." "Agreed," said Laban. "Let it be as you have said." All right, so they're making all kinds of things go Jacob's way now. Okay, he's put in all of this work. He's got wives, he's got lots of children. All right. All right, so Jacob came to the well, and that was where he first saw Rachel and decided that she was the most beautiful girl he'd ever seen, fell in love with her, wanted to marry her. Okay? But she had an older sister, and back then, when daughters were married to men, they wanted to do the oldest one first, which makes sense. They didn't want any girls to be left without having an opportunity to get married. So they couldn't go out and just mingle and meet people the way that you do now, really. Okay. So they wanted the older daughter to be married first. Okay. So in order to marry Rachel, he needed to also marry Leah. Okay. So he did eventually marry Rachel, earn that with his work. But then Laban didn't want him to leave. He felt like because Jacob was there, because he had done so well. It says that his flock had multiplied. So that means that he had more of the sheep and the goats and things that Jacob said to him that he wanted him to then share with him. So he said that he would go through and he would pick out everyone that was speckled or dark in color. Okay. Most likely because that would be easy to identify which ones were his, which ones were not. Because he's going to continue to work with the animals for Laban as well. Okay. So he's carving out a piece for himself. If he can't take his family and go back home and start his life, he needs to start to earn for himself rather than just taking care of this man's property and livestock. Okay. All right. So he agrees. Everything's great. So now he's got this family. He's got a way for him to increase his own wealth with the animals. Okay. So at this point, it appears that he is a valued part of Laban's home. He's become a part of his family because he's married to both of his daughters, and he's been working his land, working with his animals. Okay, so Jacob is really a big deal for Laban. All right, so let's look at your workbook. We are on 29:2, Jacob's family. All right, it says draw a line to match the beginning of the sentence to the correct ending. Okay, so we're connecting the beginning of the sentences to the end of the sentences. So what I'll do is I'm going to go down, I'm going to read all the beginnings, and then I'll read all of the ends. I want you to think about it while I'm reading, what might go together, because I can't ask you when I go through. I'm just going to have to tell you. All right, so first I'm doing the beginnings of the sentences. Jacob worked 7 years. Rachel was. Jacob loved. Leah had. Uncle Laban tricked Jacob. All right, so the endings are to marry Rachel, into marrying Leah, the younger and prettier sister, weak eyes, and Rachel. All right, so number 1, Jacob worked 7 years. Why did he work 7 years? Okay, the answer is to marry Rachel. He said, I want to marry Rachel. Laban said, work 7 years for me, and I will let you marry Rachel. So you're going to draw a line just straight across. They're both your first option. All right. Number 2, Rachel was. Okay. So hopefully you've looked at some of those endings. You have something that you think might be right. Rachel was the younger and prettier sister. Okay. So Rachel was younger. She's prettier. Okay. She had more going for her. So that is the third one down on the ending. So you're going to go from number 2 to the third ending. Number 3, Jacob loved Rachel. Jacob loved Rachel, right? So Rachel is the last ending. So you're going to draw a line from number 3 to the bottom ending. Number 4, Leah had weak eyes. Leah had weak eyes, okay? So she couldn't see very good. So that's number 4, and now you're going to go straight across because weak eyes is the fourth ending. All right, number 5, Uncle Laban tricked Jacob. How did he trick him? He tricked him into marrying Leah, okay? All right, so I didn't say when I was talking about it that he had tricked him, but he did, okay? The original deal was work 7 years and you can marry Rachel. 7 years was up and they were like, oh yeah, you got to marry our older daughter first. Work 7 more years and then we'll give you Rachel. So he kept stringing him along. All right, so underneath that, you have the picture of the women and there are lines out next to them, okay? It says write Leah next to her picture. Write Rachel next to her picture. Okay, so you want to look at the picture of the 2 women, all right? See what you see there. Think about it a sec. Okay, in that picture, there's 2 women. One woman, she looks very pretty. She's got nice pretty earring. Looks like her face is pleasing. You know, she has pretty lips. You can see her cheeks and things. So she looks pretty. And the other woman, she looks more plain. She doesn't look like she feels as great. Her eyes are closed. Like maybe she has weak eyes, maybe. All right. So the beautiful one was Rachel. Okay, so the first line is there next to the woman that's looks very pleasing to the eye and is looking straight at us. So that would be Rachel. So you're going to write Rachel right there next to that picture. If you're not sure how to spell it, if you look at the directions right above the picture, some words are in dark and bold. The first one is Leah, and the second one is Rachel. Okay? All right, so Rachel is that pretty girl. The one with her eyes closed that looks more plain, has her face down, that's Leah. Okay, so you should have Rachel and then Leah. Number 6, Jacob took care of sheep. He asked his uncle for all the black, speckled, and spotted sheep. Color Jacob's flock. Make the sheep black, speckled, or spotted. Keep the goats white. All right, so you're going to color the sheep. You want to make them black or spotted or speckled. Speckled and spotted really are about the same thing. So that you know which ones are his. It says not to color the goats. All right, so you guys can go ahead and do that part without me. I hope that you enjoyed that part and tune in tomorrow for the rest of the story. All right, bye guys.